Welcome back to Socks and Sandals, and today I am doing a tier list of my favorite achievements that I've earned on Xbox. The way I'm going to do this is I'm going to talk about my favorite achievement from this list of games. You can see the images here on screen, and these could be favorite achievements just because they were difficult to get, or the way I got them was memorable, or maybe I just thoroughly enjoyed the game. And then the ranking, I'm going to rank it based on how difficult I believe the game is to fully complete. And I'm going to say up front, a few of these games I haven't fully completed, be it DLC I didn't purchase, or it's just too difficult, or I just don't have the time. There's actually one on here that I'm thinking about fully completing later, and I'll talk about it once we get to that. But yeah, that's the gist of it. I've got True Achievements pulled up on my phone. I've already got a list of my favorite achievements written down, but I'll read off the description and I'll give a little backstory on each achievement as we go. But starting off the list, we have Resident Evil Village and the Legendary Cowboy achievement. And the Legendary Cowboy achievement is to achieve at least an S rank on all stages in the Mercenaries. And I would rank this higher on the list. Right now, I rank it as a... Oh, no, look, see? I fucked up. Alright, I think I fixed it. Okay, so where I rank this right now is B tier. And I would rank this S when the game first came out, because this was one of the more difficult things to do in Resident Evil Village, even compared to beating the game on hardcore. Beating the game on hardcore, you can do New Game Plus, and you've got all your weapons and upgrades and everything, so that makes that a whole lot easier. But before the Chris Redfield DLC, or it's not the Shadows of Rose DLC came out, they added Chris Redfield and Lady Domitresque as playable characters within the Mercenaries mode, and apparently Chris Redfield made this a whole lot easier to do. But I fully completed it before that DLC came out, and then when the DLC came out, of course, I had to get those achievements. But I would watch videos and study how other people do it. I would tweak their gameplay to best fit me. I love Resident Evil Village. I played through the game like 8 times. And other than the DLC, this was, well, actually, it was the third from last achievement I got in the game. The other one was to defeat Urius in the first Lycan attack when you enter the village, which I did that, but it glitched, so I had to do it again. And then Knives Out, which was to beat the entire game using only a knife. And once you get Chris Redfield's karambit knife, or whatever the fuck that is, that also makes that trivial. But yeah, that Legendary Cowboy, getting those S ranks was something else. I actually almost triple S'd everything except, I think, for two of the maps. I wasn't able to triple S, but I did S rank everything. So next up we have Trials HD with the Donkey Challenge achievement. So the Donkey Challenge is to complete the map Barrel of Laughs faultlessly using the micro donkey bike. And I actually have a achievement hunters of Trials HD. I think it was the second game I did an achievement hunt horrors for. And I spent, this was the last achievement I got. No, I think it, yeah. I don't know, it's been a while. I believe this was the last achievement I got for the completion. and I spent hours doing it. And not only that, there are a lot of other hard achievements for this game. Inferno was kind of difficult. And then there's an achievement, marathon, to beat. The player has completed the ultimate endurance tournament without any faults. And because of... So, Trials HD, you don't have to be great at it to beat the entire game. But to do a lot of the harder tracks, you do have to have a firm understanding of the fundamentals of the game. And because of that, I'm putting it in S tier. The Donkey Challenge alone took me fucking hours to fucking do that. I was so frustrated. I had done it so much that even the track itself was sabotaging me. There were moments at the beginning where, like... So, if you've never played Trials HD, the Barrel of Laughs, you start out on this platform and a stack of barrels falls over and it's supposed to knock a ramp down, but a few times I've had it knock the ramp down completely, so I didn't have a platform there. It was the weirdest thing. And another time, the stack of barrels is in the foreground. It's not some obstacle. I had that barrel fall into the track and cause me to fall. It was just... The fucking thing was trying to sabotage me. But, yeah. Trials HD certainly isn't as hard as Rising or fucking Trials of the Blood Dragon. I was going to try and do Trials Evolution. Trials Evolution is kind of doable too, as completion-wise. But I'd have to start all over on that, so... I don't know, one of these days maybe, but Trials HD out of all of those is probably the most doable as far as completion, but it does require you to have a firm understanding of how to actually play the game. So it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's a high skill ceiling, but you've got to play a lot of it to quote unquote get good. But next up, so this is one of the first games that I haven't fully completed, but we have Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, and... Oh, okay, I did. I'm just blind and not reading the full thing. So next up we have Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, with the achievement, Closing the Experiment Log. And this one... So this one is to earn all of the Platinum Flashback Relics. And if you've never played the game, the flashback relics... So to even unlock flashback challenges, you have to collect... There's a VHS tape on certain levels, and you have to make it to the tape. In order to collect it, you have to get to the tape without dying. And a lot of the later levels, especially the one where you've like got all of the masks and... you've got to use them. It's hard to describe the stage, but there's like lightning going on everywhere. You've got to swap to zero gravity and then swap to something else. It just, the later stages to do without dying is just crazy. So that in and of itself is a challenge just to unlock the tape. And then you've got to actually complete the flashback challenges. And again, this is another one where just one challenge on its own, I would spend hours trying to complete. So when I finally was able to do it, I was happy. I did attempt to try and... Because a lot of the achievements are to get... I can't even... Gold relics, which is to beat the time trial, and then they've got fucking diamond relics or some shit where you've got to beat the time trial and not die, and you've got to do that for every stage, and that is just, that's torturous. So because of all of that, it's, I would say it's more difficult than Trials HD, but it's also not as fun. Some of those fucking levels just, you're beating your fucking head against the wall. So I'm putting it in A. There are people who have fully completed this game to get I think it's like 104% ending, where I think it shows Uka Uka coming back or some shit. But I'm never going to do it. I'm never even, not even going to attempt it. But there are a few accessible achievements you can get, but the flashback challenge was that's the most difficult I'm willing to sweat over Crash 4. I loved the game. Apparently it didn't sell well, but I'm a big Crash Bandicoot fan. So I bought the re-release of the first 3 games, and when they announced a new game, super hyped. And I loved my time with it, but there are so many other games, and I'm not a young man anymore. I've got a job now, so I'm just, I don't have fucking time to waste trying to fully complete a game that I do love, but nope. Speaking of, I wouldn't say I love this next game, but the experience I had earning this next achievement, I did love. So the next game is Halo. So you can kind of see the order I'm going in, so you guys can know what game's coming up. It's Halo Master Chief Collection, and the achievement I got is Lasso Master, which is to beat all 4, because Infinite wasn't part of the Master Chief Collection. And Reach didn't count towards the Lasso Master. Neither did Halo 3 ODST. Anyway, to beat all 4 mainline Halo games on Lasso. And I did this with my brother. Over the course of, like 2.5 years, we would play. So the first one we started out with was Reach, which didn't even count towards the Lasso Master, but our original plan was to play each Halo game in order on Lasso, and after 2 years we changed course a little bit, but we'd already done Reach. And compared to, say, Halo 2, which has the most difficult Lasso campaign, Reach is a fucking cakewalk on Lasso. But so over the course of 2.5 years, my brother and I played the Master Chief Collection on Lasso, which, if you don't know what Lasso is, I apologize. It's Legendary All Skulls On. So you have to beat the game on the hardest difficulty with the Halo Skulls On, which are game modifiers. One of them takes away your HUD, so you can't see your compass or your health bar or even your weapon. And then another one, in Halo 3, you regen health, but one of the skulls, the only way you get health back is to melee enemies. And then, I can't remember the name of it, but one of the skulls prevents you. So if you're playing co-op and either you or your partner dies, it restarts from last checkpoint. If you're playing solo, it restarts the entire level, which people who fucking play that game solo, it's a toss-up, really. It's a lot easier to do the glitches in the game solo, from what my brother and I learned, but having to restart the entire level, that's just not even fun. But we over the course of 2.5 years, we did beat the game on Lasso, and to, I guess, commemorate it, we both got matching tattoos of the legendary. We both got matching tattoos of the legendary symbol with a ring of skulls around the bottom. It's something I designed in Photoshop, which my brother and I aren't. I've gotten closer to him as I've grown older, but there aren't a lot of things that we've done together, and this was one of them. So I was really, it's probably one of the proudest things I've done. That being said, I'm not ever going to fully complete the Master Chief Collection. It's a bunch of fucking multiplayer stuff, which I don't really like doing. And I'm not the biggest Halo fan anyways. Like, I've played 3, I played Reach, I played ODST before I did this. And I didn't remember shit from 3. I forgot like a good portion of that game besides like the first, second, and then last mission. So, yeah, Reach was good, but I'm not the biggest Halo fan, so I'm not going to do all of this. That being said, just based on plus there's a shit ton of achievements for this. If you can do lasso, you've pretty much got everything else. You've just got to have a lot of time to play a shit ton of multiplayer, to play through the campaign several times. And just for that time commitment, I'm putting it in S. Besides lasso aside, it's just a big old time sink to fucking fully complete this game. I think it's like got 6,000 gamer score now. If anyone's fully completed it, good job, but not me. No, sir. So next up, we have Fallout New Vegas and the pros only achievement. The achievement I only picked because it was the last achievement I got for the full completion. I think it was a free update. They added challenges to the game, which they already had challenges, but they added like tier challenges. And this achievement, pros only, yeah, it was the Gunrunner's Arsenal update, which I think was free, if I'm remembering correctly. I think it was a free update. Pros only, so it's completed any 3 Gunrunner's Arsenal 3-star challenges. I think one of them was to kill 5 Deathclaws with either long fuse dynamite or a .22 silenced pistol, which if you've played New Vegas, you know how fucking difficult that is. But I wouldn't say it's on the level of like Trials HD, Crash 4, or the Master Chief Collection. If you've played Fallout, they're pretty easy games to fully complete. If you've played RPGs before, you've got a firm grasp on what you need to do to fully complete a New Vegas game. But I put it on here because Fallout New Vegas was the first RPG I ever played. I believe Nathan bought it for me when it came out, and I fell in love with this game. I have dumped tons of hours into Fallout New Vegas and its DLCs. I've done plenty of playthroughs even after I fully completed the game. I actually started one on this channel where I was playing it with a randomizer. I obviously didn't finish it on the randomizer just because no one was watching it, so I moved on to other things. But I love Fallout New Vegas, and I think the reason I chose pros only is because I'd already fully completed the game up to this point, and then they released an unannounced DLC, and I got to play Fallout New Vegas some more. So I guess that's the reason this achievement is on here. But Fallout New Vegas is on this list because all of the achievements in this game could be my favorite achievement on a tier list. I adored this game, and I wish they would make another one like this, as opposed to Fallout 76 or Fallout 4. Going from Fallout New Vegas, where like small decisions added something else to the ending of your game. You got some little fucking addition to the slideshow at the end. It was just so cool. And then to go to Fallout 4, where the ending is basically the same, except whoever fucking runs the Commonwealth from that point on is different. Your decisions in that game changed very little to nothing at all, really. And that was just such a disappointment from New Vegas to Fallout 4. But where I put it on the list, I'm sticking it in C tier because it is a simple game to get all of the achievements. As much as I adore it, it is pretty easy to get all of the achievements. I think probably the most difficult is the hard to the core achievement. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, it's just called hardcore, which is to play the game from start to finish in hardcore mode. And basically hardcore mode just you get dehydrated, so you have to constantly drink water and eat, and you have to sleep. So it's like one of those fucking survival games that people like to play now. A resource management sort of thing. But it's really not that difficult. But yeah, that's probably the hardest achievement in the game. Dead Money's kind of a hard DLC, but pick your right stats and perks and everything. It's pretty good. It's actually one of my favorite DLCs. But because it's not the easiest on my list here, that's why it's in C, but it's a pretty easy completion. One of my favorite games, but pretty easy completion. So next up, we have Shantae, Half Genie Hero, and the achievement is Quick Collector. And the Quick Collector asks you to achieve 100% completion as fast as possible. I can't right off the top of my head remember what the actual time limit is. Let me click on a guide here and see if it... 4 hours. So you have to get 100% within 4 hours. And I picked this one because this was the first game I played on Game Pass. It was something that I haven't played any of the other Shantae games within the series. It was just something that was on Game Pass. It has an anime genie girl on it, which that's just immediately gonna draw me in. She's got fucking midriff. So I started playing it, and I thoroughly enjoyed this game. It's a fantastic game, and apparently I didn't. So there's DLC for it, which I didn't know when I was playing it. I apparently earned the 1,000 and didn't really even notice. The last 2 achievements I got were Quick Collector and Half Genie All Hero, which is to achieve 100%. I got those stacked. And I loved it. I stayed up late playing this. It's a fantastic game. So when I got the full 1,000, I was like, cool. That's great. It's apparently the rarest. So the way True Achievements works is when DLC comes out, that's a separate completion on their site. So this is my rarest completion for fucking Xbox One. Shantae Half Genie Hero. I think fucking 1,175 people have completed this game. And I don't think it's because of its difficulty. I think it's just because people didn't know about it. Not enough people played it. Because it's not a difficult game to complete. Yeah, the Quick Collector, you've got to know where you need to go. There is I guess a glitch you can do where if you let me actually look it up. I thought it was if you pause the game, it stop. I think so. When you pause, it stops counting time. I guess that's just the strat is pausing the game. So say you forget what you need to do next, you can pause it and the timer stops. I thought there was something where if you pause and like go back to the main menu, your thing doesn't. I don't know. I can't remember. It's been forever. It's been about 3 years or so since I last did this. But like I was saying, it's not that hard of a game to fully complete. One of these days, I am going to play the DLC and try to get the entire full completion. I might do an achievement hunt tours on it because I did love this game. I don't think there's an actual physical edition of it, because I did like it that much that I would like a physical copy. They released an Ultimate Edition on PS4 and PS5, but that does me little good because my achievements are on Xbox. So, but because it's not that difficult of a completion, I'm actually going to put it in D tier, because it's pretty simple to, at least for the first 1,000. I haven't played any of the DLC. I'm just basing this solely off of the first 1,000 as a full completion of that. So if you're signed up for True Achievements, it'll count that you fully completed the base game. And then next up, we have probably the biggest cult hit, in my opinion, Lollipop Chainsaw. And the achievement is No Fear of Heights. And I picked this achievement in particular because, so I'll read the description here real quick. Okay, so to earn the No Fear of Heights achievement, you have to beat the gondola game without shooting. And I guess let me just click a guide so I can get some more info on that. So this is earned in Stage 4, the Fulci Fun Center. And the gondola game, it's... So, I'm trying to remember because this was long ago. You're on, of course, like a window wash thing going up this skyscraper, and you get a gun to shoot enemies that are coming down. It's kind of like I think there's some sort of Bart Simpson game. It's kind of like the same thing. But so enemies are coming down the screen, and you have to avoid them. There are also holes that'll open up, and the gondola will fall through them. It's set in this like 80s 3D thing, and there's actually a song playing by it got annoying having to constantly retry. And I actually hated the song that was playing, but I tried it so much, it reversed, and I unironically like the song now. So, but the reason this is one of my favorite achievements, the reason this is one of my favorite achievements is because when I was playing to get this achievement, all my friends were over. Seth was there, Chase was there, and I probably spent like 2 hours trying for this. We were all getting tired of the song. We would even each take turns going for it, and finally I got it. And it was just kind of it's one of those moments that you're like, you don't realize in the moment, but later you think back on it fondly. And I just, I don't get to hang out with Chase anymore. He lives in Oklahoma now. And I miss having those nights where we all worked at Walmart at the time, and we would get off work and they'd all come to my house and we'd hang out, play games, or watch My Little Pony, or whatever we had planned to do. And this was probably when this was 11 years ago now. And I just, you when you get older, you miss stuff like that, of hanging out with your friends. Everyone's got jobs and obligations. Some are living in different states. And so I like Lollipop Chainsaw. It's a good, well, I'm not going to say it's a fine game. It has some flaws, but it is fun. The soundtrack's pretty good. She's voiced by Tara Strong, Juliet. Or Julia? No, it's Juliet. Yeah, Juliet. But I think I hold it in a higher regard just because of playing it while my friends are over, having a laugh, and just, being friends. But where it ranks on the tier list as far as completion, it's a D tier. there are some grindy achievements, and that gondola one is frustrating, but you know, persistence wins out. If you continue to beat your head into the wall, eventually you'll get through it. So it's not that hard of a full completion. Hell, you get an achievement for fucking trying to look up Juliet's skirt. So a lot of the achievements are kind of jokey like that. There are some challenges, beating the game on hard, the gondola thing, but once you've played through the game once, you're almost assuredly able to do it again on hard. So not really that difficult, but I do like it, and they are doing a remaster, rebirth, whatever the fuck you want to call it, of this game. So I'll definitely be getting that whenever it comes out. Next up, we have Mafia 2. And the achievement I picked is Explorer. And the description of that is to drive 1,000 miles within the Jimmy's Vendetta DLC. And you think 1,000 miles within a DLC, that's asinine. What in the hell? And you're exactly right, because I would come home from school every day and for an hour drive 100 miles around a circle on the map. You have to select this Jimmy's Vendetta DLC, drive around as Jimmy, and I would do that for an hour after school for a few days until I finally got the achievement. And that's just another thing, like I remember that. I think back on that. I was big into achievement hunting, so I also really loved Mafia 2. And I'm still this way. I have to really like a game now. Well, I say that, and I did Pimp My Ride. That was more of a challenge. But for me to naturally want to get all of the achievements in a game, I have to really like it. And I loved Mafia 2. A lot of the games on here I really loved, so I felt obligated to try and get all of the achievements. And I just felt like, you tell that to someone who doesn't achievement hunt or even play video games, and they're like, "That what an extreme waste of time." But to me, it feels like a good use of my time. I guess it just shows how much drive I have to get something, to achieve something. It certainly was boring at times, but I'd get home, put some music on, and just drive the loop around the map until I reached 100 miles, and that was it for the day. I'd go eat dinner or whatever, and then go to sleep, and look forward to doing it again the next day after school. Granted, I could have been doing homework or whatever, but I had an achievement to get. So that's how I chose to spend my time. Again, that being said, that is a very grindy achievement, but a lot of the achievements in Mafia 2, at least for the 360, I haven't played the remaster because I've already played Mafia 2. As much as I like the game, I've still got it on 360. If I want to play it, I'll play it again on 360. Granted, I could get more achievements, but I hear the Mafia 2 wasn't a really great remaster of the game, so it's D tier. It's an easy completion. There are a few like that one. It's just kind of grindy. There's one I think to get like 3 headshots within, I don't know, 10 seconds or something. 5 headshots within 10 seconds. I actually got that by accident, so I felt lucky there. But other than that, it's like got collectibles. There's you got to beat it on hard, which Mafia 2 on hard just gets rid of you've got a little compass at the bottom of the screen where enemies just don't show up on that. And that's really it. But other than that, it's a pretty easy completion. The DLCs are fun, other than that grindy one. So it's a great game. If you haven't played Mafia 2, I highly recommend it. A lot of these games on here, if you haven't played them, I highly recommend. So there you go. So next up, you see it there. You've probably been wondering, what in the fuck? It's Wall-E on the Xbox 360. Wall-E the video game, a movie tie-in game, is on my favorite achievement list. And the achievement I chose is Total Perseverance Part 5. Very boring title. Let me just go ahead and look that up real quick. So, the Total Perseverance achievements, there's like 10 of them or something in this, or 7. See, now I don't know. I don't know which. Let me look at the guide. It might be Total Perseverance Part 6. I don't know. It's one of the Total Perseverance levels within Wall-E. It's the one where it's either part of the game or it's a mini game. But the Total Perseverance challenges or achievements within Wall-E are to beat that level without dying. And apparently there were a few of them. I can't remember exactly the other ones, but vaguely looking through the guides, it sparked some sort of memory within, oh yeah, I remember struggling with that. But the achievement that it has to be Part 6, because I had gotten everything else, and that's the last achievement that shows up on True Achievements. So I'm just going to say Part 6. And the part I struggled with, it had to be a mini game, which if you fail the mini games, it counts as a death. You had to shoot cubes of trash in space. And I spent forever trying to do that. And for a game for children, it was really difficult. Granted, a lot of kids aren't going to try and fucking get all of the achievements in a video game. That's a weirdo teenager to adult thing to do. And I say weirdo with the utmost respect, because I do that. I don't mean any offense by it. But I actually, Ray Narvaez Jr., who used to work at Achievement Hunter, he currently does streams, and I think he still hunts for achievements. I remember him saying that Wall-E is one of his most hated games, and I think it's because of that level. He couldn't complete it, or maybe he did. I don't know. I didn't look into any further than that, but I do remember watching a video or something and him saying Wall-E is one of his most hated games because of that level. And I don't know, that just makes me feel good, because I like Wall-E. Wall-E is my favorite Disney Pixar movie. So I felt obligated to fully complete this game. And I can't say is that it's a great game. It's a movie tie-in game, so it's not going to be the greatest, but I don't remember hating it. I do remember getting frustrated on some of the Total Perseverance achievements, but I did it. So there's that. And because of the Total Perseverance, I am going to put it in C tier. It does take some, I'm going to say, skill to complete some of those levels without dying. And that whichever the one where you've got to shoot the trash is certainly one of them. So I'm going to put it in C. It's definitely not Trials HD or Resident Evil Village, the Legendary Cowboy hard, but it's difficult. That's why it's in C, below those games I just listed. Next up, we have Rock Band 2, And the achievement I have chose for this is the Steel Bladder, the Bladder of Steel Award. Sorry. The achievement I chose for Rock Band 2 is the Bladder of Steel Award. And that is to complete the entire Endless Setlist 2 without pausing or failing a song. And if you've played Rock Band, not even the Endless Setlist, if you've played Rock Band, maybe one of the harder songs on Rock Band 2, say fucking Painkiller by Judas Priest, and unless you're on easy, that's difficult, right? But imagine fucking you're all on your plastic guitars or the drums, or you've got the controller to sing. Those batteries don't last very long. So imagine fucking getting halfway through the Endless Setlist 2 and someone's fucking controller dies. It's crushing. I did this with my buddy Brandon. I think it was during summer vacation once. We stayed up all night doing it. I was on bass guitar and he played drums. And it's crazy. It is a commitment. Let alone beating the Endless Setlist 2, which is every song from Rock Band 2 back to back to back to back. And you have to do it without pausing. And someone can accidentally hit the fucking Xbox button on their guitar or the drum set, and it pauses the game, and you gotta start all over. And let alone fucking getting to the more difficult songs and failing it. It was a commitment, and a commitment I was proud to do with him. For the longest time, that was the hardest achievement I had ever done on Xbox 360. It's since been replaced by harder achievements like Lasso Master. But I did it with a friend. Again, the stuff you do with your friends is going to be memorable. And I love Rock Band. It's probably out of every game series I've played, it's probably the biggest series I've spent the most time playing. And when I said at the beginning, I do have plans to fully complete Rock Band 2. I think I've got 4 achievements left in it, and one of these days I will do an achievement hunters in it to get those 4 achievements. I don't want to say too much now and spoil it. You'll just have to look for that video. But Rock Band 2 is a skill-based game to fully complete. Beating the game on Expert, doing the Bladder of Steel. Not only is it skill-based, but it is a commitment. And now it's even harder because you've got to have a full band. You know, you've got to have friends to play it with you, or, you know, you could try and cheese it. But you've got to have all of the fucking plastic guitars and shit. And that shit is expensive now for whatever fucking reason. Fucking 5 years ago, you can find 72 Rock Band wireless controllers in a fucking game exchange, and now you find zilch, and whenever you do find it, they want fucking $100 for it. Ridiculous. I hate fucking capitalism. Fuck you. Anyway, for the people who just want to fucking play Rock Band, they gotta spend a goddamn arm and a leg for it now. So, because of the difficulty to not only play the game, but get shit to play it, I'm putting it in A tier. Rock Band is one of my favorite games. Beatles Rock Band is the only one thus far that I've fully completed. Rock Band 3's got the fucking pro controller shit and the keyboard, so I'm never gonna get all those. Lego Rock Band wants you to fucking 100% the solo of the final countdown on guitar, and I don't have the dexterity for that anymore. But the remaining 4 achievements for Rock Band 2, I do think I can get. The Beatles Rock Band is actually my rarest completion on 360. Side note. But Rockman 2, great game, pretty difficult completion. Next up, we have Alan Wake and the achievement Alan Wake Up, which is to complete the game on Nightmare difficulty. And this was another game I played in high school. I actually rented the game and I think played it start to finish within a weekend because I remember playing it all night. And I love this game. Alan Wake, another cult classic, some might say. Not enough people played it, but I absolutely love Alan Wake. I love the story. I like the combat in it. Fantastic game. And so I was still a fledgling when it came really to playing games. I, of course, had a PS1 when I was a kid, played Crash Bandicoot, but I never sought out to play anything on the hardest difficulty. So this was the first game that I played on a hard difficulty, Alan Wake, Nightmare difficulty, and I beat it because when when you're a young teenager, 14, 15, maybe it's just me, but you see shit like Nightmare and you're like, oh, I'll never do that. That shit sounds hard, but I did it. And now that's not nothing. I can beat Call of Duty on Veteran and shit like that. And I can do Alan Wake on Nightmare. It's, I mean, I say it's nothing, but it is something. It's an accomplishment to beat the game on its hardest difficulty. Now games are fucking doing like permadeath sort of difficulties, and that seems crazy in and of itself. I do want to do Dead Space, and I do want to try the remaster of Dead Space, but there is an impossible mode on that one, so we'll see. Stay tuned for that. But when I was a young, I guess freshman in high school, playing Alan Wake on the weekend, before I had to return it back to the rental store, I wanted to get all the achievements in it. Of course, they then later released DLC, and I don't think I actually ended up fully completing the game until I got a job to buy the DLC. But I do remember beating it on Nightmare and struggling at some of the harder spots, like where you're in the camp, the abandoned ghost town, and at the time I didn't know you could just leave. I thought you had to beat all the enemies, so I did. I fucking held my ground and beat all the enemies. And when I finally beat the game on Nightmare, also collecting the pages, because there are Nightmare specific collectibles that you have to get. That was another challenge itself. Doing that when you're a young kid is, you feel accomplished from it. Especially, you feel a greater sense of accomplishment with something that you thoroughly enjoyed. So, Alan Wake. And that all being said, it gets C tier. Because now, as an adult, it's not that hard. There are a few missable achievements, but there's chapter select, and it sucks to have to play through a whole chapter to get to the part that you missed, especially if you fucking miss a damn page on Nightmare, which I did. First fucking page. Having to replay a level kind of sucks, but it's not that difficult of a full completion. I actually did get the Alan Wake remastered on Xbox One. I have a full playthrough of that video up. I might try and get all the achievements for it, but I don't know. Maybe. Portal 2 is our next game, and the achievement I chose is Friends List with Benefits. And I'm going to have to look this one up to get the full description. I have a vague thing, but I want to read it verbatim. Okay, so Friends List with Benefits is while playing... Oh no. That is not the right achievement that I was thinking it was. See, this is why I looked it up. The actual achievement I'm thinking of is Professor Portal. After completing co-op, complete calibration course online with a friend who hasn't played before. And the calibration course is the first... So when you play Portal 2 co-op, it's the first little challenge thing to... It's the tutorial to teach you how to play Portal 2 co-op. And the reason I picked this one is because when I beat the Portal 2 co-op with a friend, I didn't have any other... The one I beat it with, that's my friend that that had Portal 2. And trying to get someone online who hasn't played Portal 2 co-op, that just seemed impossible. Granted, I could have just kept trying, but what I ended up doing was using my brother's Xbox, creating a new Xbox Live account. Back then, when you created an Xbox Live account, I think you got gold free for 3 days. So I created a new account, rented another copy of Portal 2, and bought... I think I had to talk my dad into it because I didn't have a lot of money. Bought Xbox Live Gold for my account for a month. But I only had 3 days because the account I created only had 3 days of gold for it. So what I would do is I set my Xbox up in my parents' room, which was directly across the hall from my brother's room at this time. And I would have to do a portion of the puzzle there and then quickly run to the next room. So there's a part where you've got to catch a cube. So I would drop the cube and then run to the controller in my brother's room to catch that cube. And I got the achievement by myself. And that's the reason it's on this list. Earlier I mentioned Perseverance in Mafia 2. And just being committed to earning an achievement. Granted, it didn't give me money, it didn't give me status or anything, but Portal 2 was a game I loved, and this was an achievement I needed to fully complete the game, so I did all of this to do it. And being a kid and not having money... yeah, I had to talk my dad into buying me some Xbox Live Gold or whatever, but I'm actually going to make sure I'm actually recording voiceover. I am. Cool. But being a kid and having to talk my dad into buying me gold might seem like, why? But if you're... The fellow achievement hunters out there may be like, that's... stupid of you, but I've seen other achievement hunters do stuff like that too, and I'm sure now I'll have to do that further with some of these other games that I am wanting to do achievement hunters for. Little teaser there. But yeah, Portal 2, where it actually falls on the list, I think I'm gonna move it. It's a D tier. You can watch a guide, watch a YouTube video to actually see the solutions to a lot of the Portal puzzles. I think maybe that one would be the most difficult, especially now, since the game's been out for fucking a decade or so. It might be a little more difficult to play it with someone who's never played it before. But other than that, everything else is pretty easy. I think Snamwiches actually did a video where he got every Portal 2, I think it's Sandwiches. He got every Portal 2 achievement by himself. Every Portal 2 co-op achievement by himself. So, if he can do it, you can. And I think all it takes is another copy of Portal 2 and another console and account to do it. Which, that's a little daunting. I mean, no one likes to spend unnecessary money, especially for something that doesn't grant you anything. So, but other than that, it's D tier. It's not too difficult. Next up, we have Borderlands, the first Borderlands, and the achievement I picked is Big Tournament. And again, I'm going to look up the actual description. Is that the first DLC? Yeah. No, it's the second one, actually. So, Big Tournament is to reach the end of each of the 3 larger challenges with one character. And this was within Mad Moxie's Underdome Riot. So I just did Borderlands 3. This became a staple in the series afterwards. They're the Circles of Slaughter. It's just endless. It's not endless. It's 5 waves of enemies, increasing in difficulty each wave. And to complete the 3 larger challenges is to just beat the bigger fucking the harder challenges within each fucking section. I think there's 3 different ones. Obviously, because it fucking says 3. Duh, stupid ass. And at the time, again, this was I think I was still in high school, or I might have just graduated. I'm gonna say I just graduated. At the time, this was one of the more difficult things I did. A lot of my friends stopped playing Borderlands, so I had to do this solo. And if you've played the original Circles of Slaughter, which was why I was surprised with Borderlands 3, because I remember the ones in Borderlands and even Borderlands 2, some of those Circles of Slaughter being quite difficult to finish solo. So doing it solo was a challenge. And that's the reason I picked that achievement. I love Borderlands. Borderlands is another one of my favorite games. I just remember, having an afternoon and just spending all day playing Circles of Slaughter. And some of those Circles of Slaughter would take hours, let alone if you fucking died in it and having to start all over. So that's why I picked it. I remember playing Borderlands with all of my friends when it came out. And that was fun, but they stopped playing. So I still kept playing. And I needed all the achievements in it. So had to do it. And as far as difficulty, I'm going to put it in B tier. Because the first Borderlands, those Circles of Slaughter definitely ramp up the ranking here. Compared to these down here, that one's a challenge. So you have to have your character spec'd pretty decently and be relatively good at the game. And you have to you have to have the drive to fucking sit through hours of waves of enemies you fought before, die maybe, and then have drive still to try again. So I give it a B tier. Next up, we have probably the biggest shocker is Duke Nukem Forever and Balls of Steel. I know this is for the pinball, but I put Dukem. Oh. Okay, so Balls of Steel is to earn a 1,000,000 point pinball score in single player. This is another video that I believe it's Ray. I know Achievement Hunter did a video for it, but I do remember this being quite difficult to do because it's pinball. You actually have to play pinball. I don't remember the controls being bad or anything as far as the pinball goes, but I do remember it being difficult. But the reason I chose Duke Nukem Forever and this achievement in particular is I actually like Duke Nukem Forever. I haven't played it since I fully completed it, but I thought it was an okay game. If you like Borderlands, well, I'm going to say if you like Borderlands 2, because the humor in Borderlands 2 is a lot more similar to Duke Nukem Forever. Borderlands 1 was kind of grittier. But if you like the humor in Borderlands 2, it's a lot of the same humor in Duke Nukem Forever. I think people hated it because it took 14 years to come out and it didn't do anything special. It also had atrociously long loading screens, but I thought it was fine. I never played a Duke Nukem game up to this point, and I think I ended up buying this one for like $4 or something at GameStop. So I thought it was a fine game. I liked it so much, I bought the DLC and fully completed the game. So there you go. I actually had plans to replay Duke Nukem Forever. Maybe one of these days I still will. I don't know. I'm not going to hold myself to that. But I did like Duke Nukem Forever. And I do remember the Balls of Steel achievement being relatively hard to do. That being said, it goes in the D tier. Because every other achievement, even beating it... So, the one aggravating thing about Duke Nukem Forever, other than its atrociously long loading screens, is the difficulty achievements don't stack. So you beat the game on hard, you don't unlock the achievement for normal and easy. So you have to play it 3 times, and then there's also difficulty achievements for the DLC. So you've got to play the DLC 3 separate times. But none of it is actually hard. I don't really remember any part of the game where it was frustrating doing it on the hard difficulty. The only frustrating part was dying maybe and then having to sit through the fucking loading screen again. But other than that, it's a pretty easy full completion. It's got collectibles and shit like that, and then the pinball one is probably the most difficult. But really, it's not that hard. If the humor is not for you, it's not for you. If you don't like the humor in Borderlands 2, I'm not going to say 3 because humor in 3 is just somewhere else. You're probably not going to like the humor within Duke Nukem Forever. It's also very crude and crass and shit like that, and it may not be the most exciting game, but it is a pretty easy completion if you just want to boost your numbers or whatever. I like it, but I understand it's not for everyone. Last up for our tier list here is Toy Story 3, and the achievement I chose is Sneaky Sneaky. So, to earn Sneaky Sneaky, you have to finish the prison break without ever tripping an alarm. And I do remember this being difficult. Again, this is another game I haven't played since fully completing it. This is another game that was right after high school, so I was still a fledgling when it came to achievement hunting. I don't have my wrinkly adult brain. I do now, but heck, it could still be difficult. I've lost dexterity, so I remember struggling with it. I remember Achievement Hunter making a video for it. It's only like 2 minutes, the video, but I remember it just being frustrating and difficult to not get spotted during that section. It's in the playroom. You know, you've seen Toy Story 3 where they're breaking out and the fucking cymbal monkey sees them. It's that scene, but you have to play it. I remember it being difficult, but the reason I picked Toy Story 3 is the same reason I picked WALL-E. I loved the Toy Story 3 movie. I thought it was a fantastic finale to our beloved toy characters, Woody, Buzz, Jessie. Toy Story 4 is a pariah. I hate that movie. I wish I could say it's not within the Toy Story universe. It ain't canon, but it's kind of difficult to do when it's got the fucking big old 4 on it. But I liked the movie, and I liked the game. I liked it enough to want to fully complete it, and I did. So that's why it's on this list. Not really any more to it than that. It's not a difficult completion. In fact, it's D tier. It's a kid's game. It's a lot easier than WALL-E. I'll give it that. I don't remember there being any levels you had to do without dying. Maybe there are, but other than sneaky, I don't remember having really any troubles with the game. And I do remember thoroughly enjoying it. This was these Toy Story 3, WALL-E, Portal 2 a little bit. I was in a competition with Nathan to get the most gamer score. And the Pixar games were kind of back then, if the game wasn't too difficult and only took 4 to 6 hours to complete, that was an easy completion game. Now you've got games that take 5 minutes to get fucking 2,000 gamer score. So, whatever. But I thoroughly enjoyed Toy Story 3 WALL-E. I even played Up. There was a point where I was trying to collect all of the Disney Pixar games. I didn't put Up on here because it's not too memorable, but at least compared to the ones I do have on this list. But that is a list of some of my favorite achievements. I've got more, but this is fucking what? 15 games I've picked to do this, and it's already, I don't know how long it's going to be when I edit it down, but it's an hour and 14 minutes of me just talking. But yeah, that's my list, and I do have plans to fully complete some of the games on here I haven't done. Some of the others can just kick rocks and open-toed shoes. I'm not submitting myself to that, but, you know, I like achievement hunting. I like video games. That's really all there is to say. If you have any of these achievements, or if you've fully completed any of these games, leave them in the comments down below. If you liked this video, leave a like. Subscribe if you wanna. But other than that, I'll see you with whatever I do. Bye-bye.